How's your Tai Chi coming along?
It's going great. Can't you tell?
Right.
You're listening to downloaded content, the memory palace of author, narrator, and fictional character Daniel Louis-Crumpton. Make sure to hit subscribe and tap the notification bell so you never miss an episode. And sign up for the downloaded content newsletter at downloadedcontent.com to be first in line for exclusive content.
All right. This is the official Season 2, Episode 1 post-activist apocalypse episode of the Downloaded Content Podcast. And we're back with Dylan Wade. It's been, it really has, dude. It's been like 4 years. When we were talking the other day, I'm like, dude, it's been 4 years since we were doing shit together.
Yeah, I hadn't even started law school when we were doing this.
Well, a lot of shit's happened. So yeah, we had to go our separate ways, and you went into law school. And I got to thinking about that shit after we were talking about it. What kind of law are you going into?
I'm thinking of doing estate planning work, drawing up people's wills, power of attorney documents, medical directives, that sort of thing.
Okay, good. Because I was wondering, I was like, how do you do law in a society that no longer has law?
In a society where the law is quickly becoming irrelevant.
It is. It's smooth. Yeah, man. So you're about to pass the bar?
No, I'm about to graduate law school next at the end of this year, and then I'll take the bar beginning of next year.
And then out there doing wills and whatnot.
That's
awesome,
the
dude.
hope.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
So, have you been doing podcasts in between or no?
No, I haven't done any. I did a little bit at the beginning of law school around election season, but like I haven't done anything in a couple of years now.
Right. And you've been following my adventures or no?
I haven't been following them super closely, but I've seen broad strokes how it's gone.
You want a summation?
Sure.
All right, yeah. Because I'm actually working on a piece right now. It's called The Suicide of Civilization. Let's make a TikTok about that. So I really wanted to be on it anyway. No, after we did what we were doing, which was like the Superest Show Ever and Popcorn Politics, we had to separate starships for a while and go on our different courses. And I was like, all right, look, because when me and you got together, you know, I was of the opinion that, look, Donald Trump was the president of the corporation. I don't want to talk about it. Because if Donald Trump was the president of the corporation, it's all a game show, right? Well, during the Biden administration, the last, while we've been apart, during the Biden administration, I got to thinking about it, and I'm like, all right, look, check it out. If activism is going to be worth anything, it has to be done on a local level, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way, because the illusion of trying to change Washington, is ridiculous. You have to try to get your hands in local stuff and then work it up, right?
Yeah, any change in Washington's a ground up approach.
No, yeah, it's never.
You're not going to do it top down.
No, you got to work up. So in my little corner of the world, down here in the fictional corporation of Warner Robins, Georgia, we had an opportunity down here. And when I say we, I don't know who the fuck that is. I saw an opportunity for people who were going into local government in my area that I could get their attention and at best maybe enlighten them or educate them to my philosophy, which is, the philosophy of liberty and freedom and all that crazy horse shit, it's just pie in the sky in America. And see what could happen. Well, the first couple of years there, I made some good headway, I think. And so down here, we started the Wartown Times. Did you see any of the shit that came out from the Wartown Times?
I did, yeah. I saw those.
Okay. So, and it was like I said, it was getting some traction. It was holding people's attention. People were thinking about stuff around here. And I was like trying to get people to go, look, you have coming in a totalitarian police state, a surveillance state. You're barreling towards martial law in every fucking way imaginable. And maybe you have your guy in there and maybe you don't have your guy in there. but every tool that you throw down is potentially going to be picked up for some tyrannical dictator down the road, right? And so,
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing with you.
So, I tried to educate people about that in local city governments, like City Hall and things like that. And then we had, when Trump came back, he reared his ugly head. It was like, all right, this is happening. So all of the militarization of the local police and implementation of a surveillance state that you've been selling to the people as crime prevention or whatever is now going to be hooked into some bigger monstrosity. You know what I'm saying? And
Oh, yeah.
so we really need to pay attention to the last vestige or the last holdout that can uphold the Constitution, and that's the local sheriff race, right? So I did the Wartown Times sheriff shootout special where we followed, I think it was like 6 fucking Republican sheriff's candidates and 1 Democrat, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so we followed that and tried to make the points that we could there. We got an interview with the Democrat candidate, the Republican candidate, Matt Moulton, who eventually got it. Like, he dodged every email or his staff, or they forgot it, or they lost it, or whatever. And at that point, I had went down the TikTok train. Have you fallen down that spiral yet of TikTok? Good.
Nope, I have studiously kept myself off of TikTok all these years.
Good on you. So, because I think like when we were doing podcasts, it had just started, and it was like just kids dancing, right?
Yeah.
And somewhere in, near the 2024 election, my brother told me, he's like, you really ought to check out TikTok, because if you get the algorithm right, you can do some shit, right? And I think I jumped in there, and I'm always cautious of technology anyway, because it's a double-edged sword. It can go either way. So I'm always cautious with it. But when I jumped into TikTok, very quickly in my algorithm, because it's like interest based, it's going to show you, whatever it is you're searching for, or whatever it is it seems to think that you like.
Yeah, whatever's related to what you were searching for.
Yeah. And so real quick, the algorithms on one of my accounts was showing me shit that normally I'd be interested in, local politics or political activism and things like that. And then, of course, the issue of what's going on in Gaza with the Palestinians, which is, something that I've been screaming about for a long, long time. And finally, looking at TikTok, it was like, oh my God, now people are starting to realize like what that's all about. And this is it's a good thing, even though, we're all watching a genocide in the palm of our hands, that's going on over there. And it's heartbreaking. And, but I was like, okay, well, around here in the deep South, most of your politics is run by your churches, and most of your churches are of the Zionist opinion that Israel has a right to be there because some spaghetti monster in the sky gave them the land, and they could pretty much do whatever they want to do. So around here, it has always been extremely difficult to get anybody to realize that AIPAC owns the government. Right?
Yeah. The corrosive impact of money is the biggest issue we don't talk about.
Right. And down here, dude, it has been impossible, right? Because of the religious the religious attachments to the nation of Israel and who they believe that Israel is. But with TikTok, I was seeing a lot of people talk about it very, very quickly, right? And I was of the opinion, this is what this piece is that I'm writing. I was of the opinion that in issues like this, that if a critical mass of people were to have the information, okay, they would be able to connect the dots very, very quickly to a great many things, right? That, American interests are Israel interests, right? And perhaps if you even go back to 9/11 and before that, a lot of the police actions or military actions that we've taken around the world might not have been for the best interest of the American people, but Israel, right? So
Yeah, or the military industrial complex or whoever, oil companies.
yeah, and so like I said, I was of the opinion that if a critical mass of people in America got that information, that change would happen, right? And now we're going into the 2024 elections with Harris and Trump. Now, you know me, man. I'm not a Democrat or Republican. It's both two wings of the same fucking bird. I knew that either way, it flopped. You were still going to get genocide in Palestine, which was my main issue.
Yeah, that was one issue that was going to be no different.
Yeah.
Or functionally no different.
Yeah. And so this is when I started to get real bitter at activism, especially activism that was coming through technology, TikTok, because I was like, clearly, if everyone's talking about Palestine for a year up until the elections, and then now the short attention span of Americans are going to turn to the elections, how do you fall on one party or the other, or one candidate or the other? How for a fucking year, since you've been harping about Israel and the Palestinians, can you know that the Democrats and the Republicans both have been perpetuating this genocide for a lot longer than a year, and then rally for either Donald Trump or Kamala Harris? And right then, when I saw the narrative of the American algorithm turning to the same thing, the 50-50 fucking politics, I just was that's when I got to the point where I told myself, I don't think there's any fucking hope. Because if you understand, if you've been this passionate, I guess if you weren't doing the TikTok thing, Dylan, you don't know what I'm talking about, but it was like a nonstop. Everyone for a year was screaming on behalf of the Palestinians, people who never cared before. And then as soon as it came down to Kamala and Donald Trump, they were picking sides. And me, myself, I'm like, how do you pick a side? How do you go with either one?
Yeah, I was not on TikTok, so I didn't see all of that discourse. I think it's hard for a lot of people. You get taught all the time that it's a lesser of two evils choice, and philosophically that's not untrue. I mean, you choose the side that's going to cause the least amount of harm if you want to make that choice. Some people don't want to make that choice. You always put in Jean-Luc Picard or some fictional character. But if somebody believes that voting is about making sure the least harm is done, they're going to choose, even if it's two people who they think are awful. That's just how it is. Yeah, there wasn't much of a difference between Harris and Trump on Gaza. I think there's probably differences on the margin, but nothing functional that'll save any Palestinian lives at the end of the day. But I do understand the disillusionment with the whole thing. It's a very easy way to, it's easy to become cynical when that's what you see all day, and then you see everyone turn on a dime.
Yeah. Were you surprised when Trump got it?
No.
What do you think about every day now? Where are you getting your news from now? Or are you checked out?
I haven't fully checked out. I've probably 90% checked out. I still read the news. I follow certain journalists on Twitter. I'll read their articles, but mostly just the Twitter news feed. I've largely checked out of predictions and podcasting on the subject. It's just I don't see the point.
Yeah, and I don't want you and I to get back into it because I'm checked out. I did want to scrape over the top of why the fuck I checked out, because it's like at this point, it here's like with the TikTok thing, and then we'll move on to other shit. But what do you remember? Like when we first got together, we were talking about the alternative media and how the alternative media was an echo chamber of people who think that I don't know, they're qualified to I don't know, be thought leaders because they have an internet connection, you know.
And they have all these theories that they can't prove, but they repeat with absolute certainty. And then when the thing happens, they're like, "Oh wait, no, that's good now."
Right. And we're talking about a dinosaur age. Nobody even knows who the fuck those people are anymore. A lot, you know, if you say Alex Jones, people know that. But then all the C tier alternative media people who were doing politics. Well, you take that environment, all right, to give you an idea, and put it on steroids, and then make it drop acid, and that's what's going on TikTok right now. Okay, it's an endless supply of little miniature alternative media hosts who have phones. Do you remember Max Kaiser? Did you ever listen to Max Kaiser? He was like a trends forecaster or an economist or some shit. And I used to listen to Max Kaiser like back in 2001, and he would talk about how, you know, the end of America was basically going to look like a casino gulag, right? And I used to wonder about that. This is in the early 2000s, like a casino gulag. What does he mean by that? And he was trying to, he really could see far into the future. He was talking about online games and online economy, and then what would ultimately become crypto, right? And that people would become addicted to a type of video game where dopamine was the currency, and it would become a gulag, and then that would be the end of America as we know it, right? The casino gulag. And it took until now for me to really see what he was looking into the future. Is like, have you ever been to a casino?
I've walked through one to get to some place, but I've never stayed there.
Yeah, I went to Atlantic City for a while and kind of looked at it, you know, and I saw, you know, I know that they have all kinds of tricks to keep people pulling, you know, touching the jack, what do you call those things? The slot machines. There's like a dopamine feedback, keep them addicted to it. And if you've ever been around like tweakers, we got a lot of tweakers down here in Georgia who crystal meth, and they'll go to these gas stations where they have these little digital casino slot machines, and they'll sit there and do that shit all night long, right? And it's a dopamine feedback thing because they're tripping balls on crystal meth. Well, now I get what Max Kaiser was talking about, because as I've started to look at the TikTok and all of these radiated miniature alternative talk show hosts who are in TikTok, it's a culture in there, because, you know, in every social media platform or any platform period, people think that that's the universe, right? That's where they're, that's it. And if you're not somebody here, you're nobody, right? Well, the way that TikTok has it set up is obviously the more followers you get, the more views, the more interaction. They have this tiered shit to where you can start allegedly making money making TikToks, just, you know, staring into your phone saying stupid shit. And and then they get people, they incentivize people to talk about issues that are trending, right? In order to just perpetuate. And then
the algorithm feeds on itself.
Oh my God. So you take that, okay, so you take that formula, all right, of, hey, if you run your mouth enough and repeat enough and post enough and just keep putting useless, diluted, mindless shit up, you might make some money. And imagine giving that to the alternative talk show people, and now millions of them. And that's what you have inside of TikTok, right? And so...
but I don't think any of the people who were around 4 years ago when we talked about them have made that transition.
No,
or at least not many, I would suspect.
No. They're probably abrasive to
it. They might have just finally gotten YouTube channels.
Eventually, yeah. Rather than dropping MP3s on sermonaudio.com or whatever. Yes. But no, man. And so, like, that's what's going on in that thing. And I watched it, and I've been watching it since the election, and like every single fucking day. Like, the good thing about it is you can get news pretty quick, right? You know, news spreads pretty quick.
But that's why I use Twitter still.
Still, well, I use Twitter for other shit, but not for the news. But like with TikTok, the news can spread pretty quick. Like, for example, look, we're in an authoritarian fascist state. No bones about it. Okay.
Yeah.
You got troops in the street in D.C. There's supposed to be 19 other states that he's sending troops to. Now they're armed.
You got the militarization of the border, immigration agents wearing masks, rounding people up without badges, a Palantir surveillance state.
Right. It's
a camp in America built to house people.
and it's getting worse. And what was the other thing? Mentally ill and homeless people are now, they can forcibly commit them and take them to detention centers. And it's like every single day, the craziest shit is in the headlines, and it's getting crazier and crazier, right? It's bad. I mean, it's just like, Jesus Christ. I expect tomorrow to look at the news and see him signing an executive order that it's okay to eat babies, if as long as they're, I don't know, MAGA approved or some shit. And he keeps pushing it further and further, or the system. And then the thing with TikTok is everybody's making TikToks about it, right? They're all complaining about it. They're all bitching about it. They're all, guys, breaking news. And it's become this feedback loop. And at some point I dropped it and I'm like, well, maybe if we keep fucking making TikToks about it.
Exactly.
And then it clicked and I said, this is the casino gulag that Max Kaiser was talking about. We are committing civilizational suicide to post fucking TikToks about the collapse of everything. And if, I'm sitting here like, if the people don't give a fuck to do something other than post trending TikTok so they can hawk shit in the TikTok shop, why should I give a fuck anymore about raising my voice to say, you know what I mean?
I get it.
So that's where I'm at. And
at a certain point, you just got to focus on keeping your own house in order, for lack of a better term.
Hell yeah, dude. I mean, and I'm like, I did go like, cause I wrote a newsletter to my subscribers about a month ago. And I was like, activism is dead. I'm taking a break and I'm just going to, I don't know how long we have before the bombs go off or whatever the fuck's going to happen. Aliens are coming or there's always something, and I'm going to go, if it is my last day on earth or if this is the collapse, what do I want to be doing? Right. What gives me joy? And, that's, writing, being a writer, going and reading comic books, going to cinema, playing my guitars, petting my dog, shit like that. And I'm like, look, I got a birthday coming up and I'll be closer to half a century old than normal. And it's like, hey, I had the chance to come up in the 80s and the 90s. So I had freedom, right? I could check that off. I became a published author, which was the only thing I really came here for. Had plenty of adventures in my life, so what the fuck? And I'm done with it. I'm totally done with it. I think, like for the past month, it was weird because it was almost like I had withdrawal. You know what I mean?
I believe that. Yeah. I think I had a similar thing happen when I stopped doing podcasts.
Did you get depressed?
Not really. It's weird. Depression has never been a huge problem for me. Anxiety has been the bigger problem in my life, but depression has never been a big thing for me. It comes and goes, but never been a big thing. I got very busy right after I stopped podcasting, so I don't know if I had time to be depressed that I wasn't doing it anymore.
I was fucking right. I think the past month or so, when I was like, okay, I'm never doing this shit again. I learned later I had developed diurnal mood variation, which
I've never even heard of that.
right, neither had I. But it was like, oh my God, because of the way I have my life designed, I don't have to show up to a 9 to 5, thank God. I could pretty much set my schedule or whatever. But I started having the hardest time waking up. And when I say the hardest time waking up, I mean when I would start to come back into my body from a deep sleep, immediately I was hit with like the most negative thoughts and feelings that you can possibly imagine.
Yeah, the negativity hits you right around sleep usually, either right when you're waking up or right when you're going to bed.
Oh, it was horrible. And I stayed in the fetal position in my coffin for almost a month after this shit. And I was like, this is not normal, man, because when the thoughts hit you, or when they were hitting me when I was trying to wake up, you just lay there,
But it also makes sense. I mean, you had kind of made activism your purpose for a long time, and then you gave up your purpose.
20 years, almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, for a minute there, I was like, I don't know what the fuck to do with myself. But yeah, man. And then I got to thinking, my girl, she's very, very patient with me, and she's in the healing area too. So we had to track it down. But come to find out, what it was diurnal mood variation is basically morning depression, which sounds like no big fucking deal. But I'm going to tell you some shit. It was not good. It was not good. And what it was
yeah.
Your cortisol is firing off too much to where when the cortisol fires off in the morning to try to wake you up, it pushes you past that. And if you have like a history of CPTSD like me, it'll put you in fight, flight, faint, or fawn, which is what was happening to me. And oh my God, that was almost unsurmountable. But when I finally, had a name for it, diurnal mood variation, then I could look up, okay, well, this is some of the shit that I can do to correct it. And then since then, I'm like, okay, I'm diving back into what I was supposed to be doing, which is I'm writing a novel now. And now that I've started doing that, now the only time I really think about politics or political activism is, I have to work in technology. And so there's no way you're not going to see a headline here or there. But at this point, it's like, I'm retired, I'm retired from all this shit. And I'm okay with it.
I came to a similar conclusion when I started school, because I got to a place where I realized I was a lot happier without it.
Yeah.
I was busy, I was stressed, but I was so much happier without focusing on the anxiety of it all.
Yeah. And now that I've gone through my transition period, me too, man. Like the past 3 or 4 days where I finally put it to bed. It's kind of like, somebody dying. It's like I'm like, wait, I can get up and do what I want with my day. I've been to the movies more to go see other, dude. And for a long time, I didn't even go to the cinema, but now I'm, going to the cinema and getting back into that, which
there's some good stuff out there.
Oh, fuck yeah. And I know that you wanted to talk to me about, it's weeks past Superman and Fantastic Four, but that's okay. I don't give a shit. We could crack it open with Superman.
Better late than never, right?
Yeah. So Superman, go ahead, man. What? Open it up.
I loved it.
Did you?
I had a great time. It was so fun. Yeah. What do you think? We haven't talked about it very much.
Well, like I said, okay, as we were previously talking, whenever I first saw the trailer for it, now look, I never really read Superman coming up, as we've discussed before. I was like, okay, he's OP. He's got a real estate guy as his arch villain. I'm more of a Batman guy. But when Man of Steel came out, shit, how long ago was it? Like 10 years ago?
That was 12 years ago.
When Man of Steel came out, that shit.
2013.
Yeah. Oh man, Tom.
Man of Steel will remain the movie that made me love movies.
Yeah, and that up until that one, I didn't give a shit about Superman. Man of Steel had me. So when, unfortunately, the Snyderverse went, what the fuck happened to it? It started off great.
Yeah, it imploded.
Yeah, it did. I didn't even bother to watch The Flash, and that had Michael Keaton in it.
It did. It was not very good. I watched it.
Well,
It had Michael Keaton and it had George Clooney.
Did it?
Post-credit scene, they had George Clooney in there.
Oh, get the fuck out! No, I can't wait to miss that one. But no, so I was like, okay, well, I guess the Snyderverse or the DCU is dead. I don't know what the fuck. And then I halfway paid attention when they were like, no, we're going to do James Gunn. And James Gunn is going to bring it back, And I'm like, okay, cool.
You love James Gunn.
Yeah. So when I saw the trailer for it, whenever they first showed the first crypto trailer, okay?
Mm-hmm.
At the time, now is he back there? I have Archer, the space schnoodle, back there. He's my emotional support schnoodle, and he's from a different fucking planet. And he showed up in my life about a year and some change ago, right? Mm-hmm. And I was going through some bad, complex post-traumatic stress disorder shit, okay? And that dog back there saved my fucking life. I mean, like, for real. So when that first teaser trailer came out, where Superman hits the deck and a dog shows up, I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be great, because if he's going with that angle of, a therapy dog for Superman looks fucked up in this trailer. And it is a funny story. So I waited for the fucking movie because I was like, oh yeah, this is, it's going to be just like Man of Steel was real personable to me in relation to my parents and me. This seems to be echoing some shit I'm going through too with the dog, right? And my girlfriend, she was real hyped up to go see it. So I waited and waited and waited, and then I was determined that if I were going to go see Superman on opening night, I was taking that fucking dog with me, right? Now he doesn't have any, papers or anything like that, but nevertheless, he is my emotional support dog. You know what I mean? Service animal, whatever you want to call it. So I called the manager of the cinema before we went to make sure. I was like, hey, check it out. Look, can I bring my emotional support dog, my service dog, with me? And the guy who answered the phone, he had me on hold for like 45 minutes because they were a little iffy. And he's like, yeah, as it turns out, yeah, you can bring your service animal. You can even bring a service horse if you want to. And I was like, I don't have a horse. I have a schnoodle.
You should get a horse and bring it to the movies with you, just to see the faces.
Right. So I got him ready, and the three of us went to the cinema, and then the manager met me at the ticket booth, and she had this Karen kind of a attitude going on, like, well, wait a minute. Yeah, we said you could bring your service animal, but is it, she started asking me some technical questions, and I'm like, oh shit. So I'm going to have to take my dog back and all this good stuff. But it triggered me a little bit because I was like, she's not going to let my fucking dog come and see this movie with me. After I called early this morning to make sure I could bring my service animal with me, or my emotional support animal. But she did. She was like, look, if he barks, you got to go. And he can't get in the seat. So me and my schnoodle and my girl watched Superman. So the first viewing, I was more preoccupied with that because I was still a little triggered about it. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Superman, but I was like, I better go back and give it another viewing,
Absolutely, yeah.
I did by myself. I went to go see it again by myself. And I mean, I guess if that's where they want to go with it, you know what I mean? Like I didn't read DC comics or Superman coming up, but from what I'm told from DC and Superman fans, this Superman is to them what the MCU is to Marvel fans, right?
The Superman's a little different. I read a lot of Superman comics. This is a slightly different take, but I think it's very true to the spirit of the character. It's definitely a James Gunn version of the character.
Yeah.
But it keeps the spirit intact.
Yeah. I liked it. I mean, I enjoyed it. But it's probably not going to get me to see, to bounce to every DCU movie like the Marvel movies do. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't get a lot of the Easter eggs or the references because I'm not a hardcore DC comic fan. Like some of the characters, I didn't know who the fuck they were. Like Mr. Terrific, I'd never heard of Mr. Terrific before. I knew Green Lantern, Hawk
Yeah.
Girl.
Yeah.
But going in, I was like, I don't think I'm going to get as many of these references as I do in, say, Thor
Right.
or whatever. I had a good time. My girl loved it. She absolutely loved it. But I was like,
Yeah.
It is a comic book movie for sure.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah, visually it was great. I got no problems there. But and Lex Luthor, the guy, well, who's the guy who plays him? I know he was in Nosferatu.
Nicholas Hoult.
Nicholas Hoult. He did a great job.
He did. He was great.
Yeah. And
he did Jesse Eisenberg's version better.
Jesse Eisenberg. Okay, yeah, he was the one who was
the one from Batman vs Superman.
Yeah.
I didn't love that take on Lex, but I liked this one a lot.
Yeah. The idea of where he's kind of when he goes into, what do you call the Fortress of Solitude, and he's like, no, he's not a man, he's an it. Like, he's a xenophobe about it, which, hey, I feel you, bro.
And that's the core of the character, is he's just jealous of this superhuman being coming and masquerading as a human.
Yeah. Is that true, though? Now, in the comics, did his parents send him to dominate? Is that something that they pulled from comic book lore?
It's not the most common origin, but it is one that has been used in the past. The Smallville TV show implied it a couple of times. Uh-huh. A couple issues of the comics used it, but that is an uncommon version of the origin.
One of the aspects, like once I came to embrace the comic booky of it, which was fine, it was fine. That's where he wants to take it. But one of my favorite aspects was the monkeys, the troll monkeys inside of the fucking pocket dimension. I'm going.
It's trying so hard. He could have just had bots do it, but he had to have brain controlled monkeys, which I love.
I thought that was a nice touch. I thought it was a nice touch.
It was.
And of course, a lot of people were making they were saying that it was, making a light commentary on the Israeli-Palestinian thing too, which was certainly
I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was certainly there. Yeah. I don't know how much I like that because of how the movie was, I don't know. I mean, I'm glad that a comic book movie brought attention to that, but in the way that it was kind of depicted.
The way I really appreciated this version, because I think we were going to get to this place in the Snyderverse if we had gotten a Man of Steel 2, but Superman, like you were talking about at the beginning of this whole discussion, he can be a little boring. He's overpowered. He can't be beaten. And I really like the idea that he's there to sort of drag the world kicking and screaming to a more moral place.
Yeah.
Yeah. That whole conflict really represented that to me, with the other heroes who stayed back for most of the movie, coming in at the end having been dragged along by him.
Yeah. Now I will like the part with Lois and him when they're going back and forth. I thought that was really, really good. Like that
was great.
That whole, well, dude, if you did have that kind of if you did have that kind of power, you know what I mean? Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I
mean, it would certainly be tempting. And he's only been Superman for 3 years. I mean, of course he's going to be tempted by, well, why can't I save that life? I can. Why shouldn't I?
Yeah. She was busting his balls, man. So you went in there without consulting the president, huh? So you tortured a guy. He's like, no, I just pushed him up against the fucking cactus. Yeah. I thought it was. I mean, it's a cool take. I mean, James Gunn. I'll say like he's making it his own. And if I'm not mistaken, the Suicide Squad. He did that one, right?
He did, yeah.
So that would officially be like the first one in his DCU, right?
I think they're taking. Have you watched the Peacemaker TV show?
No.
Okay. Well, they're taking elements from the Suicide Squad movie and bringing them over, but not all of it is coming over. Because he sort of was constrained by the DCU at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't want to. I imagine he wouldn't want to bring over elements that he didn't have a say in creating.
Yeah, I was wondering how that was going to work together, because if you had Harley from the Snyderverse going into Birds of Prey, going into the Suicide Squad, and Peacemaker was from the Suicide Squad, and I know that's canon in this, you know, it got a little
yeah,
wonky.
they're kind of addressing it in Peacemaker Season 2 at the moment.
Is that worth a watch?
I really like Peacemaker. Yeah, it's very James Gunn.
Mm-hmm.
It's very R-rated James Gunn.
Okay. All right,
it's really fun though. I had a great time with it. But season 1 especially. There's only one episode of season 2 out right now. So
did you do the Penguin?
I did.
Oh,
I
my
loved the
God.
Penguin.
That was oh my God.
That was so good.
That right there. Oh my God, I almost forgot about the Penguin. That was cinema at its fucking, and not only was it cinema, it was DC. It was my kind of DC. That type of shit. But what made it so good is a lot of kids today will never know. You know, back in the day, you had to wait. You couldn't just stream an entire a season of something. You had to wait. You know.
I prefer waiting, honestly.
Yeah, and
I know a lot of my friends don't. I prefer the discussion every week.
Yeah. Well, you have to
waiting
let it
for the next
percolate.
episode to drop.
Yeah, dude. I mean, the story. You have time to let it percolate, and it does. You know, like me and my the female who owns me now. She's become a Trekkie. Okay, so we're gonna
have to do a Trek retrospective at some point. By the way, because over the 4 years we haven't talked, I watched all of Star Trek.
Oh, come on. Okay. Yeah, we do. We really do. Especially now that, you know, there's some exciting shit coming. But me and her are going through Deep Space Nine. Okay. That is my, you know, all-time favorite. That's my religion, is Deep Space Nine.
Deep Space Nine is fantastic.
And so she's getting to experience it for the first time. But, you know, she gets to cheat. You know, she doesn't have to wait a week between episodes during, you know, the most critical moments of that show, for 6 months in between season finales. You know what I'm saying?
This episode of Downloaded Content is brought to you by Georgia's most trusted Reiki healer and tarot guide, Mona Lucia. Whether you're seeking deep energetic balance through Reiki or clarity and insight with a tarot reading, Mona offers both in-person and virtual sessions to meet you where you are. Step into a sacred space of healing and discovery and align with the path meant for you. Book your appointment today at monalucia.com. That's monalucia.com.
You're listening to Downloaded Content, the memory palace of author, narrator, and fictional character Daniel Louis-Crumpton. Make sure to hit subscribe and tap the notification bell so you never miss an episode. And sign up for the Downloaded Content newsletter at downloadedcontent.com to be first in line for exclusive content.
So I'm like, I wonder if the way that it used to be, like when you did have to wait, you really did, like, you became so intimately involved with characters of any show or any kind of a movie series like that. And that's something I think that today is lacking. But when the Penguin hit, they brought that aspect back with the Penguin. I fucking love that show. They did such a fantastic job with Penguin.
It's so good.
And
I'm also really excited for that Green Lantern show that they're doing.
You can have it. You can have it.
It's gonna be on HBO. It's by the guys who did True Detective.
Mhm. What else you want?
So
What other series
Go
are you
ahead.
on?
I'm making my way through some older shows right now. We just finished off Better Call Saul. I'm watching The Sopranos. Um, trying to make my way through all of that. I don't. I know you're not a huge Star Wars guy. Did you watch Andor?
Oh my God. And I mean, no, don't get. I like Star Wars. I was just always lean towards Star Trek, but Andor. Why can't all Star Wars be that way? You know? Oh my
Why can't all
God,
Star Wars be that entertaining and
Oh.
also thematically poignant?
Yeah, and guess who I identified with the most?
Luthen?
Luthen. You're right. That's where I'm at. I'm in my Luthen era right now. You know, but yeah, Andor. Oh my God, and I love when storytellers do that shit when they'll go back through a story and take something that for the most part originally was either a throwaway character or side character from something, and then make magnificent art out of that character. Not that Cassian Andor was throwaway in Rogue One, but what they did with Andor was, man, it was timely too, and it couldn't have been more in your face, you know.
No, it was very overt.
Yeah.
But that didn't stop a bunch of the fascist aligned people from saying Andor was about them fighting the oppressors.
Really?
They still thought that they were the good guys in that show.
Okay. Oh my God! Say you're in a cult without saying you're in a cult. Yeah, Andor was great. And you talk about Star Trek. Jumping back, I don't know if it's a rumor or not, but Scott Bakula, Captain Archer.
I've seen that rumor.
Oh my God! They told me. When I heard about it, I was like, that would be so fucking epic. That would be so epic if they did a Star Trek Archer. And they said if they do it, that the talks were that they were going to be pulling not pulling punches, pulling the what Andor did for Star Wars is what Star Trek Archer would be. It would be an involved political thriller that's more.
I hope so.
Yeah,
because I mean, not to get too deep onto the Star Trek retrospective, I have a lot of mixed feelings on Enterprise. Mm-hmm. There were elements that I thought were really great.
Yeah.
When it focused on them sort of wandering around in space, trying not to break shit, and then breaking shit, then it was great.
Yeah.
But the time Cold War, and that you didn't do anything with that. Give me more of them bumbling around and explain why we have like the prime directive that everybody ignores.
Right. Yeah, the temporal Cold War, but that was post 9/11, and they were struggling, trying to keep people's fucking attention. It was rough.
Yeah.
It was a rough time for Star Trek.
I get why they did it, but that show got really good for a couple of seasons, and then it wrapped up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame because Deep Space Nine is it's so good.
So since you've done all of them, which one, like, where does Deep Space Nine rank for you?
Oh, it's clearly the number one. Yeah. I don't even think it's all that close.
Right.
I was blown away by how good it was.
Oh my God. And no spoilers, because Mona's probably going to listen to this podcast once it goes up. And she hasn't gone through it yet, but no spoilers. But I have warned her. I said, I go, baby, there's only 2 shows that when they ended, when I watched the season finale or the series finale, I cried my eyes out like a damn baby. One was MASH. Okay. Because I did. When I watched the series finale of MASH, I cried like a fucking baby. And the other was Star Trek Deep Space Nine, because that episode, the What We Leave Behind, man, if you spent that long with those characters, and they did such a good job. Every character gets to shine in Deep Space Nine, unlike in Discovery, where you only had one character, Michael Burnham.
Saru shined occasionally.
Okay. Yeah. Whenever Michael wasn't, but it should have been called Star Trek Michael by the end of it. But with Deep Space Nine, man, you fell in love with each and every one of those fucking characters. And whenever they give you the finality of their story arcs, you're like, this is it, man. I cried my eyes out. But yeah.
Yeah. What a great. I don't know that a Star Trek show could be that good again. I don't know that it's possible.
Did I tell you the story about when I met Avery Brooks?
You have told me that story, yeah.
And how Deep Space Nine foretold the future?
You have told me that story, yeah.
Right. And now do you see what I was talking about now that you've seen it?
I can definitely see it.
Yeah.
I know we can't go into too many spoilers because your girlfriend's watching, but Avery Brooks, man.
Yeah.
Captain Sisko.
Yeah. Yeah. And I told her, I go, because, the first 3 seasons he's got hair. I said, look, when he shows up bald with a goatee, it's balls to the wall.
I hated that look for 5 episodes, and then it just clicked in.
Now, dude, when I go back and watch the early episodes of Deep Space Nine and he's got hair, I'm like, God, I can't wait till he shaves that shit off. But yeah, when you go back and you look at it, and then you say, when did this show end? Like, when did Deep Space Nine? When was the finale? And with these concepts of perpetual warfare and that there's a boogeyman everywhere, and false flag terrorism and occupation and all that shit. And it was certainly, it was telling the what was going to happen. And what's weird is on a higher level, if you go back and do it like right now, it's doing the same thing. It's just perpetuating
different.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like how far in are you guys?
Me and her, we're about 6 episodes into season 4. So
have you guys got? I don't know how vague to be. There's an episode about surveillance. Have you gotten to that episode?
It's 2 episodes away. I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, because I'm looking ahead. Yeah, I'm looking ahead, and I'm like, okay, this is what's coming in store for. She wasn't into politics or anything like that before she got with me. You know what I mean? But since she's been around me, obviously she's been exposed to the deeper things that are going on in everything. And she gets blown away watching Star Trek. She's like, how did nobody not know that this shit was coming when we had stuff like this telling us, science fiction? I'm like, honey, people are fucking blind, man. Blind, deaf, and dumb.
Yeah. That 2-parter that you guys are about to get to was when it went from, oh, this is really good Star Trek to, no, this is special. Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I haven't given her any hints about By the Pale Moonlight, which I know which episode I'm talking about. Where, and I keep telling her, I go, look, there's a couple of episodes in here that won some Emmys that when you see it, it's gonna fuck you up. And By the Pale Moonlight is just around the bend.
Yeah. It's one of the best episodes of TV I've ever seen.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But you're right, dude. I mean, unless, when it comes to Star Trek and where they're going with shit, like, I'm not going to lie. Like, I dug Discovery the first couple seasons.
So did I. I don't dislike Discovery.
It brought Star Trek back. You know what I mean? And the first couple of seasons, I was totally cool with, but I'm not gonna lie to you, man. It wasn't about. I didn't watch the last season of Discovery as they aired it. I waited.
I still haven't watched the final season.
Well, I won't ruin it, but by the time I got done with it, I went, it.
And you know what Discovery also did? It gave us Strange New Worlds.
That is another topic. Like I said,
good TV.
Yeah, Star Trek Discovery brought Star Trek back, and it gave us Strange New Worlds, which, and it's so weird too with Star Trek shows, because every time a new Star Trek show comes out, other Star Trek fans are like, they look down their nose at it. And I've just always been in the philosophy, look, more Star Trek is more Star Trek. You know what I mean? Just go with it.
Yeah, I've never understood the whole looking down at it. Like, is Discovery better than Next Generation or Deep Space Nine? No, but it's still fine.
Yeah.
It's entertaining
Yeah.
occasionally. And if you're not entertained, you're not entertained. So what? There's plenty of other TV out there. Go watch it.
Yeah. And each show has its own little niche too. The thing that I did like about Discovery was the whole idea of the mycelium network, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I do psychedelics, so I'm like, yeah, that whole concept of the mycelium network, yeah. But go ahead.
Go ahead.
But with Strange New Worlds, I have not started season 3 yet. We're gonna wait on that one.
I'm only 2 episodes in at the moment.
So far, so
it's
good?
really good.
Okay.
So far, so good.
Yeah. And I'm gonna give Starfleet Academy a good shot. You know what I mean?
I'm worried about that show.
How come?
It just, I don't know. I don't feel like the show makes a lot of. I don't know. It feels very it just feels very different from what Star Trek is usually doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Deep Space Nine was different. Enterprise was different.
Mm-hmm.
That different is fine. But from the writers that gave us Discovery seasons 3, 4, and 5, they want to do something formulaically different. That does give me a little bit of pause.
Yeah.
But I mean, I love Paul Giamatti. I love Holly Hunter, and Robert Picardo was the one saving grace of Voyager for me. So
yeah. I mean, yeah, it looks like, and from my understanding, it takes place in the Discovery era, way off into the far fucking future. But like I said, I'll give it a shot. I know that they were. There's one clip where they're teasing something about the fate of Captain Sisko, and I'm like, well,
is there?
Yeah, go back and watch the trailer.
I will. Anything that gives me more Captain Sisko is very, very good for me. I don't care if it's mediocre the rest of the time. Give me more Sisko.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that one, and I hope that, because for a minute there, whenever that whole Skydance Paramount thing was going on, there was word that there would be that Star Trek was getting canceled.
And they did announce Strange New Worlds was coming to an end in season 5. So they are putting current Star Trek on notice.
Yeah. What did you think about Picard season 3, specifically 3?
I liked it. It felt like it was better than the later seasons of Discovery, but not as good as Strange New Worlds.
Yeah.
Firmly in the middle.
I like.
What do you think?
I didn't have a problem with season 1 and 2 of Picard.
Neither did I.
When they announced that it was going to be, an older, gruffier Picard, and it wasn't going to be like the Next Generation, I was prepared for it. I liked it. So I didn't mind season 1 and 2. But when it got to season 3, I think I teared up every episode, because to me, Picard season 3 was such a love letter to Next Generation fans. And
the guy who show ran Picard season 3 is doing the Vision TV show for Marvel.
Vision Quest?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Good. And I thought it was a pretty cool tip of the hat to Deep Space Nine too, with the changeling aspect, and and that.
I can't believe we saw so many references to Quark in Picard. I can't believe we didn't see Quark.
Did we see references? Am I?
Really? There were scenes where they would fly past Quark's, like a place with the sign Quark's Tavern or Quark's Bar.
Really?
Yeah, and we just never saw Quark, and I'm very upset about it.
And that's in Picard?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go back and take a look at that shit.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's the only Deep Space Nine character who was really referenced.
I've got to go back and watch that. I didn't catch any of that at all. That's crazy. Mona loves Quark. I think that's her favorite is Quark so far.
I am partial to Garrick.
Yeah, Gary's great. He sticks with that Taylor shit to the bitter end. Yeah.
He really does.
I overheard it when I was hemming some pants. No, I'm not an operative. Nah, man. Yeah.
No, I'm not a spy. I'm just your humble tailor.
Yeah. No, excuse these access codes to your weapon system and shit. Yeah. Andrew Robinson did great. Yeah, man. So it might be a good time to be a Star Trek fan. I mean, if they get Archer off the ground, that'd be great. And I don't know what they're doing with the movies. At one point they were talking about Quentin Tarantino doing a Star Trek movie,
which would be really interesting.
Yeah. Hey, I don't know, man. Did you see Weapons?
I have not seen Weapons yet. Okay. I'm gonna see. I plan to watch it when it comes out on streaming. Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Did you see Sinners?
I did. I really liked Sinners.
Okay. If you liked Sinners, you're gonna like Weapons. Okay. And I say that because I like that. Don't get me wrong. I love that the MCU has done what the MCU has done. Okay. However, it has caused a problem. I think streaming has caused this problem too, is where stories don't end anymore, where there's no, used to stories had a beginning, a middle, and a fucking end.
The cinematic universification of media.
Yeah. To where now nothing ever ends, so you don't. So I like that, like, Sinners is one of those movies, unless they make a cinematic universe out of it, where it's like, it's a contained story. I like that.
I don't think they could make another Sinners. I know they do want to make another Weapons.
Yeah.
But I don't think they can do another Sinners. I'm really interested in that director's Joker and Harley Quinn project that he's been talking about.
Coogler?
No, the guy who did Weapons.
Really?
Yeah, he apparently wrote a script for a movie about one of the henchmen for the Joker and Harley Quinn who, through a stroke of luck, incapacitates Batman and becomes like a hero among the thugs of Gotham. And gets in trouble with Joker and Harley.
Yeah. And we might have to do a whole episode. This is more of a, hey, let's cinema ejaculate all over each other for the first time in 4 years episode. So it's not going to be episode specific, which is fine. But
yeah, we're just catching up this time. No structure. You know how he operates.
Yeah. Joker Folie et Deux. Did you?
I like that movie more than most people. I don't think it's great, but I like that movie more than most people.
This is why I love you, right? See, now I thought that the whole way that it was done was brilliant, because Joker Folie et Deux is the biggest practical inside joke I've ever seen from a director, from a writer, from any of it, because I mean, it really is like.
And it's a meta commentary on the audience.
Mm-hmm. You're goddamn right it was.
And they were right. I mean, the best endorsement I can give that movie is they made a prediction about their audience, and their audience proved them right.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I thought it was brilliant. I thought that it was probably one of the most brilliant things that could have only been done after Joker, right?
Yeah. I wasn't as big a fan of the first Joker as you. Mm-hmm. I like the first Joker. I didn't think it was groundbreaking. I think Folie à Deux did something more interesting in a less polished way.
Yep. And because of my affinity for the first Joker movie, right? Because, and as we discussed Joker, the first Joker ad nauseum. I thought that at the end of the day, what was put up on screen was what it is like visually to struggle with, unseen illnesses, neurodivergency, or PTSD, complex post-traumatic stress disorder, right? And so that's why I love that movie so much, is because it was like, finally, I'm seen, right?
Right.
When Joker 2 came out, I felt the exact same way about it in relation to being a victim of narcissistic abuse in a relationship, right? Because as the first one depicted what it's like to struggle with an unseen illness, I think that movie showed exactly how fucked up a relationship with a malignant narcissist can get you. I mean, and it was almost like watching a fucking autobiography. Some of the lines in that movie, I had heard from a narcissistic abuser before. You know what I mean? And that's why I love that movie.
Yeah. No, that movie gets a lot more hate than it deserves, I think.
Yeah.
There's something admirable about a movie that anticipates how its audience is going to respond and makes fun of it.
Yeah. And crapping out at the box office and all that shit. It was like, well, there's not going to be a 3, and it's like, we didn't need one. We didn't really want one anyway. That's not what you know what I mean.
I don't need it. I don't need a third one. Let's let it rest here.
Yeah, and again, he wasn't playing Joker. It really
no.
Me as a Joker fan, I understood that Todd Phillips was making a movie about mental illness, and he needed money to do it, and we'll take DC's money, right?
Unfortunately for that movie, I think the most brilliant thing they did in the movie was the opening cartoon.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah, I don't think the movie ever, because that 1.5 minute cartoon told the whole story of the movie.
Yeah,
so elegantly.
Yeah. I only watched it twice. Now the first one I watched over and over and over again, but I only watched Joker 2 twice because it's a tough one. I mean,
it's a hard movie to watch.
Yeah,
not just because it's really long.
Yeah. It was a tough movie for me to watch because it took me to some places, and it actually saved me a lot of time too, because before that movie came out, I was kicking around the idea of writing a novel about a narcissistic or toxic relationship that can kick off addictions and show the grittiness and the ugliness of it. And I was like, yeah, I really do. And my therapist was like, you need to write this novel. And I was going to write it. And then I watched the movie and I said, well, never mind. I don't need to do that. Somebody else got it and accentuated the point and the pain perfectly.
Yeah. Have you seen Eddington?
Mm-mm. No.
It's Joaquin Phoenix, Pedro Pascal, and it's about, it takes place during COVID in a small town in Texas. And it's basically about how isolation breeds mental illness and makes people susceptible to cultish behavior, and how it just drives people to violence. It's a really good movie.
Is it streaming?
It just came out on streaming in the last few days. Yeah.
Oh, we'll have to check. I'll have to check that one out. What else is on your radar?
Let's see. Another movie I think you might. Another movie I think you will enjoy. Life of Chuck.
Life of Chuck. Who's in that?
Yeah,
one?
It's based on a Stephen King book, but it's not a horror movie. Basically, the world is coming to an end. Everything is falling apart. The internet and TV doesn't work anymore, except for one ad thanking an accountant named Chuck for 39 years of service.
Oh, I'll have to check that out.
And nobody in the world knows who Chuck is.
There's a lot of... are you noticing that a lot of our media, like our movies and shit, are like, it's almost like they're preparing us for Civil War and the apocalypse and what's that? The Fallout. Fallout's one of them. Yeah. But yeah.
I think media tends to reflect the anxiety of the times, I feel like, more often than it predicts what's coming. I think it responds to underlying anxiety. So I'm not surprised that we're doing movies about people becoming susceptible to cultish behavior and the end of the world, because people are worried about that now.
What do you think? What do you think? Where do you see it? I mean, like I said, this is just an orgy of a podcast. Uh, what do you like? Because art is imitating life, and it's feeding back into each other. At the rate that we're going, do you see some big cataclysmic? Like even like, hang on, even like with Fantastic Four, with Galactus coming on its way, and if
Okay,
you
we
are
do need
in
to
this
talk about
kind of
Fantastic Four too.
yeah, what now?
We do need to talk about Fantastic
Yeah.
Four too.
But the have you heard about Three Eye Atlas? This 12-mile big
not.
spaceship thing that's coming towards Earth that
I
Harvey
have
Loeb.
not heard of this.
Really?
No, wait, maybe I have heard something about it.
Uh-huh.
Right after Fantastic Four, I feel like I remember hearing somebody on Reddit talking about that. Yeah, that sounds vaguely familiar.
So
And people think it's like Galactus was inspired by that, or vice versa.
yeah, well, do you remember Oumuamua that came into our solar system in 2017? This big ass long cigar. Okay, I keep up with shit like that, because it
Yeah.
might be my ride coming home. But you know what I mean?
Well, if they're taking you, can they take me too?
I will make sure that there's a reserve seat for you, Dylan. Trust me,
I
because
appreciate that. I welcome our alien overlords.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, this is Atlas 3i. Look it up later. Is they picked it up. It's coming into our solar system. It should be here. They said at first it was going to be December. This thing doesn't act like a natural space body. I mean, it accelerates. It's coming in at a trajectory that just really screams of intelligence. It's emitting, its own source, and so we have a source of like light and shit like that. It's just doing some very spaceshipy type shit. And NASA has, up until recently, said, it's, we're not going to know until it gets closer, and then we'll determine whether or not it's a comet. But this Harvey Loeb, this scientist from Harvard, has said, look, this is probably something that's non-human intelligence and not good. And now it'll be here, I think late September, something like that. Well, even that shit, because I've been watching it closely, because again, I'm fascinated with stuff like that. I know that we're not alone in the Uberverse and things of that nature. But when Fantastic Four came out, when they were doing the promotionals for it, and it was like Galactus, that shit too. I mean, it's foreshadowing, because the trailers for Fantastic Four and the announcement of Galactus was before we picked up Atlas 3i. So it's like, it's kind of cool, man. I've always thought it was very interesting how, through our art and movies, we can almost see shit coming from the collective consciousness. It comes out through our expression. It's a weird thing, but it's...
Yeah. No, it can be weird. To answer your question, though, I don't think we're headed for anything cataclysmic. I really don't.
Really?
I might be naive. That's certainly possible.
Mhm.
I accept that possibility. But every time I feel like humanity reaches that point where it could all come to an end, or we can, for lack of a better term, fix our shit,
Mhm.
We start fixing our shit.
Mhm.
It may be a slow fix, and it may not be a perfect fix, but we always tend to draw ourselves back from the brink. I think we're hurtling towards it. Like, I think we're headed to the brink.
Mhm.
I don't know how long it'll take to get to the brink, but we're definitely headed there. But I think we're going to pull back.
I heard, I heard a guy the other day. He said, if you stop and think about it, we're on the Star Trek timeline, right? Which is about right. Around the mid, 2000s, 2040-ish, 2050-ish, mankind hits this, according to Star Trek lore, it hits this wall of, what we're
Mhm.
actually seeing, and then you end up with World War III, right? And a massive drop in population and world governments, and it nearly takes us back to the Stone Age. And then on the other side of it, Zephram Cochrane invents warp drive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I think that's about right. I think that we are going through a bottleneck, right? There's no doubt about it. I will tell you this: the United States of America it's not going to happen. It's already dead. Like, it's weird too. You waking up and me anyway. It's like, this is not the country I was born into. This, like, what we're in right now really is. It is a fascist, authoritarian state. It is.
Yeah.
And
It is. I mean, we have a private tech company building an all-powerful surveillance network. I mean, it doesn't get more authoritarian than that, coupled with agents in masks being able to take people wherever, and the president being above the law, according to the Supreme Court.
so you're pretty concerned about Palantir, aren't you?
Yeah, because there are a lot of things that I think can be undone. You can turn the clock back on a lot of things. Once you create that kind of system, though, that's not something you can't put the genie back in the bottle. You have to nip that in the bud. You can't encourage that, especially, like, I'm fairly optimistic on the implications of AI for people. I'm fairly optimistic on it because I know that it can be beneficial for me, as somebody who can't move. It can be very beneficial for me. So I tend to be a little more bullish on the technology. But putting that technology together with a mass surveillance network is asking for trouble.
Yeah.
So yeah, I am very concerned about Palantir, not just because of the AI stuff, but these tech companies do not have our best interests at heart and would turn us into slaves if they could.
And Palantir, like, I'm aware, and I'm the same. I'm with you on it. Like, with technology, technology is neutral. Okay, it's a neutral
it's
thing.
how people use it.
It is. It's and me and Mona were talking about it the other day. I'm like, if you stop and think about it, like, take Star Trek. Okay, in a Star Trek post-scarcity society, they have all of the technological wonders that we do, the holodeck, the internet, where they can have Zoom calls and shit like this, shit that was unheard of when Star Trek was coming out. Yet the inhabitants of the world of Star Trek, with all of this technology, are still aware and active of what's going on in their world, right? Whereas what we're looking at right now, like we were talking about earlier with TikTok, people are getting sucked into the technology in negative ways right now, right? And so,
it's creating a very isolated society. People aren't talking. Socialization has gone down tremendously.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's all about the TikToks, man. You got to make a TikTok about it. But with the Palantir shit, like, me being a science fiction guy and kind of seeing where shit has been going for a long time with Palantir, yeah, people should be afraid, and they're not afraid enough. They're not.
Like, I was concerned about the NSA stuff, obviously, back in 2013, 2014, when we found out about their extensive program. I'm more worried about Palantir than I am about the U.S. government theoretically having that system.
Mm-hmm.
Because maybe I'm naive, but I do think the U.S. government can be reined in. You can't rein in Palantir.
No.
There's no checks and balances on Palantir.
No. And what's crazy about it, like the Peter Thiel guy,
a literal ghoul.
Yeah, he is a creepy looking motherfucker, man. And before we started recording, I saw a headline that he's going to be giving a talk on the Antichrist in September, selling tickets to some talk where he's going to be talking about the Antichrist and the Antichrist system. And I'm like, well, but it is, again, you're going to trigger me back into activism. No, you're not.
No, I'm
because
not.
I knew about Palantir. Like I've been harping about shit like that for a long time. And around here, and I don't, like I said, I don't know how much of my shit you were following, but
You told me a bit about what was going on at the end last time we talked.
okay, like this is what boggled my mind, Dylan, is with the local representatives that I was able to become friendly with around here and talk to face and eyeball to eyeball, who on so many levels, most of them were Democrats, so they to a degree knew the danger of Trump, but on so many levels they knew they knew about shit that I was talking about in regard to the militarization of the police, the military industrial complex, the policing for profit industry, the prison for profit industry, and how it devastates melanated communities, marginalized communities, the immigrant communities. And it's a monster. And they would, yeah, okay, we agree. We're against that. I'm like, great. So you're going to help to try to de-escalate or deconstruct some of that system in our area, right? And they're like, yeah. And then I watched as every one of them, when this new flock system came into town, right? Which is, it's the eyes and the ears of Palantir. Okay. I knew that. It's this dragnet warrantless search system of cameras, facial recognition, license plate readers, gunshot detectors.
Yeah.
And it's literally.
Now,
go ahead.
You and I have slightly different politics, but I will concede an argument to you and the libertarians. You have always said that you give the government that power, they will never relinquish it, and they will abuse it, and they will give it to people who you can't trust with it.
That's right.
I don't think as somebody who does not usually agree with your politics, I can't argue with that point anymore. Nope. They're doing it right in front of our faces.
Yeah. And like around here, dude, it was fucking crazy because when they first started putting it up, and it's creepy to drive around town and you see these flock cameras everywhere. And if you know what they are, most people, they have a scotoma, like in my town, most people, they don't even see them. They literally just can't see them. Right. Me, somebody who knows, every time, I pass by one, I get triggered because I'm like, that thing was sold to our local government to prevent crime and make things more efficient and prosecutions on crimes more efficient. However, in my mind, I'm like, but they're going to plug it in to Palantir-like systems.
And look, as you said, when we were talking about AI, technology is neutral. That system could probably be used to prevent crime, and it could probably be used for good purposes, but it will also absolutely be abused.
Yeah. And like I said, man, I tried warning everybody around here, and they dug their heels in, and they were like, well, it's for crime prevention. And, because of the flock system, we saved a baby, we saved a baby, and they always do that shit. It's always about they save the kids with this or that, and it's like, yeah, but
I'm really glad you guys saved that baby, but what's going to happen when that system is used to round up babies who aren't citizens?
That's right. And then yesterday, an article came out from Colorado where, you have a lot of locals in Colorado that are fighting the flock system. And there's an issue going on in Colorado because, again, the way that city councils and local police departments, all of that's private companies, okay, the way they're pitching it is, look, we only turn it on when you call 911 or something, right? So we're not
still recording passively.
Yeah, it's logging everywhere you go and everywhere you meet, and with AI, it's so advanced you don't even have to have like a license plate number. You can go Toyota Camry with a dent on the corner, right? And it can pull your fucking car up and track everywhere you've been. And so, the way they sold it, the way they're selling it to cities and municipalities is, well, this is just for our police department. And I'm like, okay, now,
no.
I'm like, so you mean to tell me that if ICE wants to tap into that system, that you guys are going to say no?
Because of how the laws are set up, they have to say yes.
Right. Yeah.
That's the problem. They have no legal recourse to say no. So you're just giving away the keys to the castle, basically.
Yeah. And they're doing
You're
it.
giving up your people because you're worried about being seen as soft on crime.
That's right. And that's why I walked away from local politics, because
I don't blame you.
if, and look, I know a lot of like the city council people and Mayor LaRonda on a personal level, like if I'm talking to them on the street, it's like, hey, nothing personal, and I've talked to them. I have talked to a few of them personally where I'm like, look, nothing personal, but you should have known better. Like, this is warrantless searches. It's going to devastate the marginalized communities ultimately. I mean, and it is. And
I mean, because it's over policing.
Oh my God. Well, here and here's where okay, and this is what I thought it was odd too, Dylan. And let me know, by the way, like 10 minutes before you got to jump.
I'm gonna have to jump in 10.
Okay, so because once I hit stop, I have to get your file. But we can pick up where we left off there. But yeah, with the flock thing, we'll get into a story next time I get you on. Just remind me about the swastika mobile and flock. It's a kind of a funny story.
Okay.
The swastika mobile in Centerville. Trust me, just don't let me forget. But yeah,
Okay.
Like I said, they've erected the eyes and the ears of Aramon, and I don't know how they're going to sleep at night, if they can even connect the dots the way that you and I connect the dots. But ultimately, the flock system goes into the ICE, the Department of Homeland Security, and then ultimately into Palantir. And we have literally given one man, Peter Thiel, the Infinity Gauntlet.
For some reason.
All right, Dylan. That's all the time that we have right now. We'll have to do a clusterfuck later and focus in on. We'll do Fantastic Four next time. But it was good to see you, man. How's your Tai Chi coming along, by the way?
Too. How's what?
How's your Tai Chi coming along?
It's going great. Can't you tell?
Right. All right, Dylan. I'll let you know when this is going to go out, and next time we'll be a little bit more structured, guys. But it was good to talk to you, man. Just talk movies.
Yes.
Let the world fucking burn, man. Let it burn, and have a good time while we're here. So
absolutely.
You've reached the end of downloaded content, which means either you're more advanced than most or have nowhere better to be. Either way, subscribe to the newsletter and on YouTube, TikTok, or wherever souls are bartered online. Catch the long-form podcast on Spotify with new episodes weekly. Be sure to pick up Then Came the Flood, a novel by Daniel Louis-Crumpton on Amazon.com, booksamillion.com, or wherever books are sold. Experience a weaving together of the antediluvian world in a way that you've never felt before. Then Came the Flood by Daniel Louis-Crumpton. We'll see you in the next download.